All right. So this is the March
Nice.
4th Manage Optimize pre-planning session for the 1311 milestone. And I think we can get started. So basically what Larissa left us to kind of guide our progress here is the objectives list in the planning issue. So I don't know if you've both had a chance to look at that. I added some front and back end labels just to the first three. I wasn't quite sure about some of the other ones, but I have this impression that this is a little bit front end heavy right now. So we might want to look for more back end. So I just kind of wanted to start with that general impression, like Martin, especially with you. What's your sense of that?
Do you mean overall or for a specific, just for a specific area or overall?
Yeah, just kind of overall.
Yes, so we have complete work to DevOps adoption, project level VSA, definitely a big one on the front end side. Looks about right. I'm not sure. I think DORA metrics, that's probably something where we can get started on the back end if we haven't already. I'm not sure if we have already one issue in this milestone. Can't remember.
Yeah, we've been working on improving the deployment frequency metric, but we've got some API work to do on the other. So I'll go ahead and add a backend label to that one as well. Just, at least for now, we can say it's all backend.
Okay. Yes, happy to take a closer look at backend issues. I think for the front end, we already have a good amount of topics, plus also brought up a few items that Nick already labeled regarding the improvement of the SUS score. Those are mostly UI improvements that we should be able to squeeze in. So no big topics, but just something that engineers can work on while they're waiting on MR feedback, or if they run out of work, which I don't believe they do, but something they can squeeze in occasionally.
Okay, cool. And actually,
just an FYI, that those issues that you listed, I shared those with the UX team, and the feedback they gave me were those aren't really what they're looking for within that OKR. They're important, but they don't actually hit that OKR. So I've removed those labels, by the way, the SUS visibility status ones.
Do we have any SUS items? Like any candidates at all remaining?
I'm currently thinking about what it should be. So it's on my mind, and like basically, it doesn't need to be like a retroactive fix either. It can be something if we're creating something new, and we need to demonstrate system status. We can also tag that with that as well.
That's good to know. I think in that case, I'd rather. I mean, I think those are like quick wins, but I'd rather not prioritize the list that I posted in the planning issue then, since I mainly added them because I thought they would be related to the OKR. If they're not, I'd rather not prioritize them and pick something else or work on improving SUS improving it on an existing feature that we're already working on. If that's also contributing to the OKR, then that's perfectly fine.
Cool. So I guess that simplifies a little bit things for us here if we don't have SUS issues to talk about. I wanted to pull up, and I actually just screen shared prematurely. I'm going to bring this back up. The list of issues that we've already got assigned to 1311. So not like a huge amount of weight here, but I just kind of wanted to like just walk through them real quick to just make sure they were all kind of visible. And I see one down here that doesn't have, I'm not sure how this got here. It's I'm not sure how it got assigned to 1311 yet because it's still planning breakdown and has no weight. So I'll work on that one. But yeah, we have a few more. So front end, back end, front end, front end. Yeah. Looks like 4 front end and 1 back end that are already in 1311. Do we need to talk about any of these?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Good deal. So then it kind of seems like maybe just a matter of going through the proposed objectives and making sure that the issues from these objectives are assigned to 1311. So like Martin, maybe you and I can just kind of split up that work, and like you take the front end stuff, I'll take the back end stuff, and we'll just kind of pile those things into 1311. And then for the final planning next week, we can just kind of make sure that the weight is adjusted just right.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
I think one thing that we should also do, objective 5, select a few items from the Value Stream Analytics Small Improvements epic. Oh, okay. That's not the one that I was looking for. I was actually going to suggest that Ezekiel recently opened an issue with where he was collecting bug fixes for the Value Stream Analytics redesign that both Adam and Ezekiel have been working on in this milestone. And they're already fixing a whole bunch of issues in that issue. However, it's more a feedback issue. So it's collecting several bugs or issues in one issue. So at the end of the milestone, or maybe sometime next week, we should see what is left in that issue and create separate issues for that. I'm going to add that to the planning issue as well. So we can go through that maybe next week and see what's left. And if there's anything important that we want to extract from that issue and move to a separate issue that we can schedule for the next milestone. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds great. And I just added a link to that to the agenda. I think that sounds really good.
Thanks. Awesome.
Cool. And from what I'm reading in his issue, it says it's documenting some potential backend issues. So this is good. It gives backend team a little bit more to work on. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I guess let me know if and how I can help with that. Cool. Okay.
Let's just is in this milestone. I think they have already knocked out a whole bunch of those or fixed a whole bunch of them.
Awesome. That's really good. So let's see, we talked about 5, and then 6 is the stretch goal to align DevOps adoption table to DevOps stages and fit existing adoption columns to the relevant stage. I don't know anything about this. Is this something that we have ticketed yet, or is it just sort of still an idea? Do either of you know about it? I'm referring to item number 6 in the planning issue objectives section.
I haven't seen anything related to that.
Right. Let me. Align DevOps adoption table to DevOps stages. So this is basically going towards. There's an issue for it. It's DevOps adoption. Next iterations of DevOps adoption table. Let's stick that one in there. I've updated the description, and I can share my screen and quickly talk through something. So right now we have like a rough direction for we have a rough direction. Where did I put the stuff? There we go. So this thing, where currently within DevOps adoption, we have a table and we have the subgroups on the table, and currently the table is features, but none of the features are categorized. It's just basically features. And I think what she means there is starting to cluster the features into the key DevOps stages, as in plan, create, manage, verify, package, release, secure, protect. So nothing to do with these charts or anything yet, but starting to package that, to organize the data by DevOps stage.
Is that so this is mostly about adding the tabs as a categorization pattern?
Yeah, first iteration would be nothing to do with the chart. First iteration would be clustering the stuff within the table, I think. Let me think how we do this.
The reason I'm asking specifically about the tabs is that we already have tabs on that page, right? So we would have like nested tabs again.
We have tabs. We have tabs on not at the group level. We have tabs at the instance level, correct? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, so, and this is only about the group level.
Yeah. So this will. Yeah, I mean, we have the DevOps score thing. The tabs are across adoption and score, right?
Yes, we only have those two.
Yeah, I think we could start out with nested tab, because I think the end goal is to basically just integrate the DevOps score thing into DevOps adoption as a page, and DevOps score not because they're basically the same thing. It's just one's looking at like an instance view. So eventually that tab will go. So I think having those tabs would be a good start, and then having the nested tabs at the instance level where it's not so available anyway will be fine, and then we can integrate and figure out how to do the DevOps score.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. And I was just adding some notes about that to the agenda here. Although I'm not, it sounds like if we're dealing with tabs, it's not just about the table, it's about more than the table.
Well, what we need to do is actually figure out the features that are important, and then work backwards, work backwards for what are the features from each stage. So maybe a first start would be like just I haven't really thought too much about the MVC on this yet. I've only really thought about the vision to start out with, but yeah, I'd say we need to know a few more features before we can start bucketing them.
Gotcha. Okay. So you would like to come at this from a perspective of here are the features that we consider to be important in GitLab, and then just put those in the different buckets. We don't want to come at this from a perspective of like here are the buckets we want to fill and let's arbitrarily fill them. Like, so basically my question is, if we end up after deciding these are the most important features, if we end up with a bucket that only has one feature or like somehow 0 features, I don't know, like would we eliminate stages? Would we eliminate a bucket on that basis?
Well, I'd hope that every stage would have at least one feature, or else what's the point in having that stage as a team?
Yeah, right. And I think it would. I think that's true.
Yeah. I'd say the ideal thing would be 1 to 5, maybe 6 or 7 features in total for each stage.
Okay, but we're comfortable if it's uneven that way. If one stage has 4 or 5 and another one just has 1.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So Nick, it sounds like you'll be working on kind of the UX for that, and then we can like maybe that would be our focus for 13.11, and then we could work on execution in 14.0. I like how the camera's shaking as you're writing over there. Nick, does that sound about right though?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool.
I think
Awesome.
it'll be quite a bit of work, so I can't imagine it would probably fit into this milestone.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Cool. So I think that kind of gets us through the list of the proposed objectives. Is there anything else we should talk about?
So with the Dora page,
Yes.
sorry, with the Dora,
Just the Dora metrics in BSA.
yeah, the Dora metrics in BSA.
Right.
I from a perspective of like efficiency, of team efficiency, as well as where metrics should live and all that sort of stuff, I feel like it's a better idea for both teams. Is it release or verify? Yeah, release and us to be contributing to the same page. I mean, we're creating the same. We're creating the same. We have the same APIs and so on. But my thinking is to start out with, I think it would be better if we simply had a link from the VSA page to a main Dora dashboard and flesh out the Dora dashboard first before just having those metrics within VSA, and then plugging those in VSA when if and when we feel like it. But to start out with, fleshing out the dashboard and linking to the dashboard from VSA as like the first option.
Okay, and what would you want to do? So like deployment frequency is one of the 4 Dora metrics, and we're already displaying that one. Would you want to sort of stop displaying that and replace it with like a link to your, and actually just for what it's worth, I would like, I'm kind of hopeful that we're going to call it like delivery analytics or something versus Dora metrics, because that so puts us in a box for like, this page only has these 4 things. Delivery analytics, I think, would be nicer. I mean, of course, that's more of a question for you. So just throwing that out there. But if we did follow that approach, and I like that approach of just linking over, would we get rid of the deployment frequency numbers that are there now and just have the link, or would we add the link in addition to that 1 Dora metric we currently have?
So the way I see it is, the Dora metrics are a combination of stability and velocity metrics, correct? So they're looking at metrics which span dev and ops, and therefore within the scope of our information architecture and sort of narrative of how GitLab works, it's a meta analytic because it spans across 2 stages. One stage being something like CI/CD, and one stage being something like create or plan. So my thinking is Dora in itself would, I think we could start out with just a Dora page dashboard and consider it like a meta analytic. But yeah, ideally I'd like to pull it out of the CI/CD page because it contains metrics which are like related to dev. So
Yeah.
sort of it's nested within CI/CD, so it doesn't really make too much sense at the moment. So I think as it stands, having like just a Dora page by itself would probably be okay, and like And if we pursue like an information architecture like this, where we have stage focused analytics and object analytics, then Dora would sit sort of like at the meta analytics level. And that's sort of why I think it's like a well-known thing. So having a page which is dedicated to like the Dora metrics as a dashboard makes sense to me. Because some people may use Dora metrics and not use value stream. Some people may use, I don't know. But I think just like it doesn't prevent us from integrating these metrics together on the same page. I just think to start out with, it would probably make sense if we're just contributing to the same page as the other team and building it out that way. And then when the value of those sorts of metrics are proven on the page in VSA, then we can sort of move them over and link back to the Dora page for more detail.
Yep, I think that makes total sense. So I'm gonna
we need to make sure this is okay with Larissa, of course, because she's got some ideas as well. But my general feeling here is I think we've been figuring out how to implement analytics within GitLab, and starting out by integrating loads of analytics really tightly into the pages to start out with becomes a little bit inefficient. So like when we think about like code review analytics and being super like targeted and focused on the metrics and stuff there, it sort of doesn't really I don't know what I'm talking about, never mind. But yeah, ultimately what I'm trying to say is Dora metrics on its own page, I think is a good idea to start out with, and then we just link to that page from VSA. And then from there we can add in metrics or something on VSA afterwards.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So basically, as you're thinking kind of, as soon as we have a dedicated page for some type of meta analytics, we don't show the individual details on VSA, we just link to that other page.
Yeah, so we could do it in a number of ways. So for example, we could just have like this, where it shows like Dora, or we could have something like this, where it shows deployments to production, deploys, and then that would click through to either CI/CD analytics or the Dora page, depending on how we structure it.
Yeah, just depending on where it's living. Okay, cool. I think that sounds good. And then if we, well, yeah, I guess we can just figure out the design for that. That's kind of small potatoes, I guess, to figure out the design for that. And really,
yeah, we've got the components in place anyway, so it should be relatively simple. Although I'm speaking on Martin's behalf here, so I don't want to make any big assumptions.
I think that's true, though. I mean, replacing some text with a link should be pretty straightforward. So,
yeah,
cool. Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. You know, that definitely saves us some work on the optimized side, or maybe alternatively, it kind of just shifts some work over the other side. So, like what we decided with the release group was basically that they are going to kind of be responsible for the two analytics endpoints that they've already built, which is for deployment frequency and lead time for changes. And then our group is going to be responsible for the other two, which are change failure rate and time to restore service.
That doesn't make sense. Like, deployment rate and mean time to resolve service seems to make more sense under their ownership, as they are like within the ops group. So I don't understand why lead time for changes is owned by them when it's like a dev analytic.
Yeah. No, totally fair point. This wasn't
Yeah.
like a functional division. It was just sort of like, well, you've already done 2. Why don't we do the other 2?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Is that just in terms of like stuff we are currently building and maintaining, or is it like DRI sort of thing?
It is not DRI stuff. It's just about like who's doing the work that exists right now. Yeah.
Okay,
that's all.
that's fine. Okay, I misinterpreted.
And for what it's worth, I would kind of think that maybe our group would sort of own that API moving forward. You know, it feels very much like an analytics sort of API to me. So
yeah,
that would kind of be my expectation, but let's, we can just kind of see how things shake out. I think either way, both groups are pretty happy with the way we're moving forward here. So I think we're all right.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's see, do we have anything else for planning, or is it just a matter of we can each go kind of work on what we have to work on?
I think that's that's all good.
Cool. Sounds good then.
All right.
Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it up then. Actually, before we do that, Nick, I wanted to mention to you that Larissa 2 days ago on Tuesday, she was showing me all the work that you did for like jobs to be done. Like you gathered all of those jobs to be done. You sort of like bucketed those into what apparently kind of turned into the user journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really cool. I didn't understand that that's how that user journey had kind of been formulated. I thought it was like kind of formulated from first principles. So really cool that that's coming from the jobs to be done. So I wanted to mention that because I've been kind of going through my own exercise recently of trying to figure out how to like just for my own purposes, how I categorize features, like how I bucket features together. So like your user journey approach, and then of course we have the stages approach. And then I've kind of been like pondering a third approach. So just an FYI for you and Martin here, that's something I kind of want to take a look at yours, and then also kind of throw my idea out there and just kind of see what sticks. But I know, like Nick, you've done more work on this than anybody, so really interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll post the link to where I stored that in Figma. Cool. And yeah, happy to see whatever you've put together and take it from there. Sounds interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, I was hoping to have time to do it today, but like Larissa's not here and I didn't end up having time to prepare anything anyway. So maybe we can just do it next week.
Cool. Yeah. Or record something asynchronously and share, do whatever's, or in the meeting, whatever's easiest.
Cool. Yeah, that might be even better.
Cool.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right. See you in a bit.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
James. Bye-bye.